Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Select Board meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. This meeting hearing of the Ayer Select Board will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom and Channel 8. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom, meeting ID number 978-772-8220, or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager at ATM at ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 100, prior to the meeting. If I could ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, do I have any amendments to the agenda?
Have none.
Have none. Make a motion that the board approve the agenda as presented.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Sorry, I was trying to fix, what is this thing doing? Okay, there it is. Okay, all right, agenda's approved. Any announcements for tonight? Okay. All right, next up, public input. And we have Julianne Jovain for creation of a town ombudsman proposal. Thank you. Please come on down.
Oh, geez. Turn my heel on my side. Thank you for your time. As our proposals stated, on behalf of a number of residents who are just kind of upended by the Lincoln Hill project, we wanted to take a step forward and possibly change things so that there's a little bit more clarity and less confusion between the town and the administration of the town. This is not being witchy, it's not being nasty, it's being genuinely trying to improve how things are operating and placing blame on no one except for all of us. Because some of us didn't communicate on our end, some of you didn't communicate on your end, and it was nasty, and it's still nasty. We don't want nasty. We don't like nasty, we're not nasty people, but we've been treated badly by some, and some directly responding to, contractors involved are exceedingly rude, disrespectful, and nasty. We had a town meeting. It didn't really serve any positive purpose for us. So with all of these things in our past, looking forward, we did a little bit of research on the position of an ombudsman, which is someone who kind of is an intermediary person, separate from the town and from the residents, almost like a mediator, if you will, who's there to represent, who's there to mediate, who's there to communicate and find answers. From the resident perspective, we can't just go into the town and say, we need this, we want this. There's a lot of stuff that, is not privy to us, and that's expected. On the other side, we need that information to better our lives, to make things clearer so we don't get so upset, so put off in the process. The primary thing is in the planning of anything in town, how is it going to affect existing residents? Negatively, positively, how do we improve that kind of dynamic between the town and the residents so that everyone's on the same page all the time? Nobody's feeling slighted, nobody's feeling slighted, lied to, disrespected. All of that happened here. All of that continues to happen here. Very briefly, I brought from March of September, these are only from my computer. All the greens were positive outcomes, got answers. All of the blues, no answers, no outcome. Some things were directly ignored. Maybe the information wasn't there. If we had an ombudsman in place, who was continually in contact in meetings, in board meetings, committee meetings, representing the people and able to go back to the people and the residents saying, this is what's happening. This is what's coming up. You know, before everything is a done deal, it would make things from the resident perspective a whole lot more positive. So I'm trying to come from a very positive place, feeling very negative and hurt by the whole process, and I'm not alone. But I am sitting here, you know, in place of a lot of people. We have some on the list who put their name on the proposal. There are others, every time I talk to someone, they're like, is it too late to put our name on? I'll just keep collecting names and adding. But it really comes down to, how can we all communicate better? How can we all make it a more positive experience? Is stuff like this going to happen? Absolutely. Do we want development? Absolutely. But do we want people not to be hurt by it, negatively affected by it? That negative effect is continuing. So how do we stop this from happening to someone, or preventing most of it from happening to other people in the future? That's why we put this together. We're not sour grapes. We're not NIMBYs, as I have been affectionately termed at this point by a contractor in a very nasty gram from them. How do we make it better? We can't be that person. You guys can't be that person. You have to keep running a town. We have to keep being residents. If I could move, I would move tomorrow. Believe you me. I used to love the town, and now I feel completely forgotten by it. So that's where we're coming from. That's what we want to do. We're hurt, but we're positive. We want to move forward in that light. So that's why we came up with this. If anyone needs copies, I have them.
It's in the packet.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It's a difficult task, we know. We thought it was a lot easier a task than trying to ask for, you know, it is another town employee per se, but could it be volunteer? Could it be a paid position? We don't have those answers, but with this, we're hoping that this will kind of plant a seed and get conversations moving, because future years of the town doing what it's supposed to, but in the meantime, stomping on the people that make it the town. You know, we want to make that not happen. And we think that a person that's an intermediary, an ombudsman, can do that purpose. They can sit in on meetings. They can know ahead of time what's coming down the pipeline, so they can report to the residents, oh, by the way, such and such an area of proposals coming through. And then more people can be involved, and more people will come to meetings to talk about it, and more people will fight you maybe. Not you necessarily, mostly the planning board, unfortunately for them. But if something is known about in advance, it can be dealt with in advance. Whether it's we deal with it because we know it's coming, or you deal with us because you know we're coming. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's not like a threat or anything. I'm just trying to give that analogy or that wording. So if everyone's on the same page, everyone knows what everything is about, and not, oh, by the way, your entire neighborhood is going to be blown up and destroyed, and you have no rights. It's just, that's what's going to happen. Sorry. We didn't even get sorries in this last instance, you know? And I apologize for staring at you directly in front of me. I'm
No,
very
that's
nervous.
fine. I'm the chair. I'm used to being stared at. That's okay.
So I thank
And I
you.
stare back sometimes when I'm listening intently, so.
So I bring, you know, two fellow friends now, because we're close now, because we've gone through this together, and we continue to. We just want you to hear. We want you to listen. We want you to consider. And we're willing to put work in to do it and to help it happen if we can. But that's why we're here today.
So clarifying questions.
Yes.
Okay. So you're saying that you want to know in advance when something's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much in advance you're talking about or exactly what you're talking about if there's a specific thing. But to be fair, we do announce to the public this is what's coming up. And based on what I'm seeing, and even when I'm talking to people, is it not also, and I'm literally asking for a conversation, is it not also the residents' responsibility to kind of like check the website to see what's going on.
Yes.
And not be on just the community page, because that is not the town's page. So we could check the town's Facebook page, check the website to also see what's going on, because that is also a part of a problem.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree. People should be more involved. People should be going to town meetings. People should be going to planning board meetings. People should be going to select board meetings. They should be involved. If they can't come here, they should be on Zoom. If you care about your town, you should be involved. In this case, or most cases, when projects come before the planning board, they're kind of a done deal. And the planning board just kind of, has to go through it to make sure it meets bylaws. That's our impression. If I'm mistaken, so be it. That's the impression. Of March in 2025, we were presented with a project that we thought we could actually speak up for ourselves and make change. And that was not the case. For a while then, we thought we were being listened to. And then it's like a flick of a switch. And again, I'm not being negative to the planning board. Their job is not an easy one. But there was not a lot of stuff was brought forward. And because we weren't officials, we weren't considered. Because we didn't own the property, we were not considered, viable input. So I know that developments, small or large, start long before they even get to the planning board. And the planning board has a process they have to go through, which I've been trying to learn over the last few months, since last March. It's a lot. I know it's a lot. But in some cases, in this case, why this came to be, why we're sitting here, we do not feel that the residents were given any consideration whatsoever.
John, you have a question?
Yeah. So my understanding as it is if you own a piece of property, you can develop as you see fit as long as it falls within the guidelines.
Yes.
So what weren't you given that, or what could have changed if this advisory role existed that you didn't get now?
I think in our perspective, if we had a person that we could go to, and we could go to Danny, we could go to Robert, if we had a person that we could go to who would be able to get real-time information. If somebody is digging next to my house, and I think they're getting a little close to my line, I can't just say, hold the phone, stop what you're doing. I have to call Danny. If I can't get hold of Danny, they're gonna keep on digging. And after the fact, it will probably end up being, oh, well, sorry.
But you would still have to call somebody else.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. But again, if we had somebody at town hall, they would be able to touch base with Robert or Danny in the absence of us getting a phone call back. I mean, at one point, Carly was a savior because something was happening. And I don't know if you just happened to be driving by or whatever, something was not right. She stopped. She is a person who could stop things. And they had to wait. And that was the right thing to happen.
And if I could, Madam Chair, I just want to be, some of the things stated, I take obviously offense to, but I was driving by because we've paid an enormous amount of attention to this project. I had a dentist appointment that got canceled. It was right when the blasting started, and I said, let me take a drive by and see how it's going up at Lincoln Hills. And there was a truck being offloaded with no police detail. I stopped, I chatted with Mr. Govang for 40 minutes or so in the freezing cold, and we got a police detail down. There are so many eyes in this building on that project. I don't go to site visits or do that. That was out of the ordinary. I just want to throw my 2 cents in that there's so many people in the building that are watching this project, more so. You guys have been vocal, and you should be, because it's affecting you. But we are not hiding anything, and we're not taking it seriously. We are. All of these people, the staff, we are. I promise you that.
And we are not discrediting anything that you have done. You should not take offense at anything. We understand that there are paid positions, volunteer positions, all kinds of committees that are looking out, but these things are still happening. And when you go repeatedly to those resources that are available to you, and everything is, sorry, that's just the way it is, despite major problems, emotional issues, stress, anxieties. I mean, we're not just talking about the physical land. That's their land. Absolutely, they can do exactly what they want to do with it, and we don't have a say over that. However, when what they're doing to their land is affecting X amount of people all around it, where do you draw the line? So that's not what's in question right now. But if we had a person who was on a committee somewhere, someone who could even, let's take it a different direction. Let's take it away from Lincoln Hill because, I mean, everyone's negative about it. Let's take it in a different direction. If you had an ombudsman position, you could have this person also reach out to residents to educate them about town processes. You don't have the time to do stuff like that. There isn't a specified person that I'm aware of that teaches the public what it is about town meeting, how to participate, what are the rules and everything like that.
Point of order.
Well-
That is actually my job.
I was just
So,
gonna
Jeff-
say, I was just gonna
Well,
say,
please speak up. That is my
I-
job.
I-
Chapter 30A, Section 21A, we are nearing an executive order. This is going after people personally.
we
Madam
do.
Chair.
We have explained it numerous times, every time. And that again falls under the resident bothering to, become informed. And there is a bigger problem. That's the bigger problem because we do actually have, and she does, and the moderator does, and everyone is doing it. So that's the bigger problem. And so, I mean, we appreciate this conversation, okay? Because, we all agree that if there's a problem, we all want to fix it, okay? But there are people doing their job and getting that information out to the public. And for example, I've talked to people who I don't know anything about town meeting. How long have you lived in this town? I've lived in this town for a decade or so. How do you not know about town meeting? How many times do you even saw it on the community page of people even saying, I don't know what town meeting is, or it's too long to spend at town meeting. It really isn't. And and I use that as an example because that's basically 2 nights out of a year where somebody could participate. But, that's a whole other conversation, okay? But that is being sent out there. That stuff is on the website. So that information is out there. So, I know she's upset, and honestly, she kind of has a right to because she does work her butt off to make sure that information's there.
Okay, I don't
The
question that.
problem is if this advisor position, first of all, if you want them attending all these meetings and everything, how's that going to work? Because all they can do is listen. All they can do is listen, and they can say, well, I was talking to the residents and this is how they feel, okay? That's all they can say, which is exactly what you would be doing if you showed up for that meeting, right?
Yes, in theory,
So, but they would have no vote,
right?
and all they would be doing is replaying, okay, this is what happened at the meeting last night, which are also videotaped and put on YouTube. So, so there are all sorts of processes that are already in place to take care of everything that needs to be taken care of. This project is a mess. We can all agree. This project, everyone dislikes. I felt the rumblings myself, and I will just use it as rumblings. No plate has fallen off the wall, so everybody's still fine. Plate fell off the wall, there's going to be somebody hurt.
I would also say that what you're describing is basically what each member of this board, planning board, we're all elected by the town. We're all elected to represent the town people, the residents. So we all already do that role. We're all available to everybody to communicate with. So if you have an issue, you reach out to the members. We're here to represent the residents. I don't see the need to have a whole nother person that just would, again, be sitting in on meetings to advise. When, what's the difference for a resident to go to that person versus go to a member of the board that you have business in front of?
Okay, if I may ask a question. The information that is being put out and the information that is being received, it is a responsibility of the resident. However, there is definitely a disconnect, wherever it lies, between people wanting to be involved, people feeling comfortable going to meetings and speaking. We came to the meetings, we spoke, we were dismissed, literally dismissed. So when it comes to town meeting, I will speak for myself on this one. I've been to a few different town meetings. I built up the chutzpah to actually speak at the last one after I was told I should bring my case there. I brought my case there, and I was very embarrassed because I didn't know the process. I didn't know how it was supposed to be presented. I was just told, bring it to town meeting, bring it to the floor. So not only was my point completely ignored because it was not presented properly, I never want to go to another town meeting again, because personally, I was completely shut down and embarrassed and humiliated, or at least I felt that way. When I go to a town meeting, I want to think that my vote matters, that I'm not just squelched like a bug. Because I pay the same taxes, I support all of the events, I do the Ayer thing. But I'm not as important as someone who's coming into town to build a house, make $1 million and leave.
That's not true.
I think that's how we feel though, Carly.
So,
That's how we
just
feel.
to clarify, I do believe that our website has the resident's guide to town meeting. Okay? To give you the short synopsis of town meeting, you are only allowed to talk at town meeting relevant to the article that is being voted on at that moment.
Mhm.
So if you try to bring up anything else that has not to do with that article, then yes, you're not gonna, nobody's gonna allow you to do it, okay? So that's the short synopsis. So what I want, and I hope this is the good takeaway too, is first of all, you're able to come here to speak about this issue. And people are very heated about this issue because they take their work seriously and they feel offended, okay?
As do we.
Right. So here's the thing. Everyone has their perspective as to how they're feeling. And that perspective is their reality. So I'm laying that right on the table. So how everyone is feeling right now is valid. Okay? What we do need to do is just to continue to move forward together. That's what we have to figure out to do. Now, you've shown an example of what you've said is a problem. And if that is actually what's going on, then that needs to be fixed. I think everyone can agree with that. But I need to say on behalf of some of the people receiving some of the emails have been really bad. I mean, really, really rude from the residents. And that doesn't help matters either. So I think what needs to be remembered is that there's a human being who's upset. They're trying to get a hold of another human being for some info, but they're so upset, they sent a nastygram, and now the human being that's reading it has shut down because they're feeling offended. And there's the bigger problem. So what my bigger advice to everybody is that everybody take a breath before you start typing, okay? And then when you read something, take a breath to ensure you didn't read it in the wrong voice. Remember, those commas are important, okay? So that's the bigger thing I'm gonna say as far as the overall, all right? The people in this building take their jobs very seriously, and they want to be able to walk down the sidewalk and knowing that when they run into a resident, that they've done right by their resident, okay? And I think the resident at the same time wants to come here and feel like they've been doing right, okay? So we all have to take our bruises on this one and then find a new way to do this. I don't know if this will do it. It could, I mean, you and I had chatted about this, and then you brought it up and the proposal and everything, and it's not what I was envisioning, okay? But again, this is where you're able to have a conversation, and that's what we're doing, okay? But I want everyone in this room to know your feelings are valid. If you're feeling offended, that's a valid feeling. What I'm hoping is that when you walk out of the room, you feel like you were heard, and that's all I can ask for. So, do you have any questions?
No. Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, just a comment. I appreciate you coming here, all right? So that's part of the whole process that we always say. We want to have people be able to come to us and speak with us. If you have any kind of issue, and that's why we have these open meetings. Okay, so I appreciate you coming. For me, as we've kind of said, the select board, we function as ombudsmen. I could ask anyone in this room, or really anyone in this town, who have come to me and asked me a question. I can't think of anyone that would say, you never got back to me, or you didn't listen to me, or you didn't care. Because every person that's ever come to me, I've talked to them. I always say, I can listen to you, I can sympathize, I can try to do right by you, but in the end, it just might not be what we can do. But I can certainly listen and try to explain best we can. So I look at this, and again, I really appreciate the fact that you saw an issue, you came here, spoke to us, you have a solution, okay? That's great. So many people come to us and just say, I don't like it. I say, okay, well, can you give us something or whatever? So here's something. You put that work in, so that's appreciated. For me, I've read through this, and again, I take this seriously. I took pages of notes, my thoughts. For what this position would be, it looks like 100 hours a week. Is what I see right off the bat of all the things you'd want this person to do. If it's an elected position, you're a volunteer for the most part. Maybe you get a small stipend. I don't know. I mean, that's way down the road, but I'm just looking at that saying, there's things that I certainly would have to think about, question. As presented here, I said, I don't know if this would be setting up someone for failure. So I'm going to certainly, take it under advisement, try to figure out the best way moving forward. Like I said, we don't want to look backwards. All we can do is move forward. Unless you have a time machine, then we can talk. But
Oh, I'd be so excited.
speaking your language. But what we can do to try to improve these things in the meantime, you can reach out to me. I can't solve everything, but I can be another person. Sometimes it's looked at, these boards or whatever, us versus them. We're residents. This could have easily affected me, and I know, it did affect both of you in certain ways, smaller than what you had to deal with. So when it's kind of like this, the poor residents and such, and I say, well, we're also with you. We're paying the taxes in dealing with these things. So I don't want to have that adversarial kind of feeling, which it feels like it kind of is. And again, that's just my takeaway from this. So, speaking of that, getting involved toward myself, doing all these, being part of the Parks Commission and now Select Board, I've learned so much of how the town functions. I know all these people. I know how hard they work. They really, really do. And with a resident out there, living their life, working, raising family, whatever they're doing, know that? Probably not, because you're not going to be in here as much as we are, but I do promise every single person in here that's employee or elected is working hard. And, one of my kind of just takeaway things I'm going to finish with is we all want to do what's right for the town, right? I can say that. That's one thing we're united in.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, there's a lot of different ways to get there. We have different thought processes, feelings. So we are all on the same team. I will certainly, look this over and be thinking about it. But you took the right step by bringing this up, bringing this to a board to be talked about in public. That this is great. And we'll see what we can do moving forward.
Thank you. May I reply to Mr. Sparks? You said adversarial. We don't want adversarial.
Okay.
The whole goal of this is we didn't feel that there was somebody working on our behalf during the Lincoln Hills project. That is all we know outside whatever we, listen to in planning board meetings or whatever. So we don't fault anyone. We know you all work hard, okay? But if I may, when you see something elevating to the point where you're getting the nasty emails and the complaints and people are going out of their minds sending rants on Facebook or anything like that, there might be a need to step in sooner or have a meeting to discuss things sooner. Because at the point where this hit its peak, it was already done. It was already gone. And we don't feel negative about people. People are people. People are working for our benefit. I wouldn't want to work for the town. I work for the town of Westford. That's hard enough. When you have that feeling that you're not being heard or considered, and it's just aggravated because every time you ask a question, you get the same answer without perhaps you should try this, or making a suggestion as to, you know what, I hear you, however, this is this, and what you can do is this. It's a lot easier a pill to swallow rather than, sorry.
I think part of the problem is that sometimes when somebody answers something and the receiver is not feeling like their question's been answered. But the sender, like, no, I answered the question. And so you'll ask the question again and you get the same answer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've said this before, is sometimes you got to reword what you're saying because the person is not understanding what you're saying. So at that point, if you're not understanding the message, then say, could you try rewording this a little bit because I'm not understanding it the way you're saying it. Okay, so
Yes.
that's just human being, and I've said that numerous times. Okay, the other problem is in this, I think it's forgotten sometimes, is that, you know, all the employees, they're not just focused on the Lincoln Hill project. They're focused on everything else too. So, you know, all of a sudden they're getting this, you know, all these messages about Lincoln Hill, and it, you know, everybody's mad because they didn't get replied to, and it's like, well, I'm sorry, I was over here taking care of this thing. And that lies part of the other problem. Nobody's being given a chance to even maybe answer. Sorry. Carly.
If I could, just from a staff perspective and, you know, overseeing the staff and working together, if there was, there's two things I want to say, and I mean them with the utmost respect. I really do. If you get an answer, and if you don't like the answer, it's still the answer. There's nothing been proven wrong at Lincoln Hills. It doesn't mean that we don't love it. I mean, I would hate to live where you live right now. I would. But show me, if we had, you know, Mike is up there all the time. There's nothing illegal. The blasts haven't gone over a limit. That's why the state sets the limits. We don't have anything to walk in and say, stop this project. No one's ever shown us anything to do that, right? So they have rights, you have rights, but, you know, as far as everything we've seen, and the chief is here, Chief Johnston, Mike's up there all the time, Dan, we don't have anything to stop them until it's illegal. And we haven't got that from anyone. And I hate to say it like that, but, you know, we are listening, we are watching. And if for 1 second we thought, oh, okay, I mean, the blast response, the fly rock incident, everyone was up there right away, making sure, you know, of course, that people were safe first, of course. But, you know, this project, it's unfortunate that it's happening. But again, the developer, whoever has that land, has rights too. And our zoning bylaw, which gets passed by the voters of Ayer, allows for that type of development in that neighborhood.
That we understand.
Yeah.
Completely.
And
That's been
it's
drilled
hard.
into our heads, believe you me.
Right, but it's like, again, until it's like right there in your back doorstep, a town meeting 10 years ago, who cares about that at this point? I get it. I do get that.
Yeah.
So I sympathize with you guys. I do.
I appreciate it.
Yes, Lori?
I didn't expect to come here to litigate or negotiate Lincoln Hills as much as we have in the past half hour. And I'm not blaming anybody. I am in support, and the reason I'm here is in support of the idea of the ombudsman or of some kind of mediator that can be called in for these disagreements. I guess you could call it. And that might not be the right word. So that's why I'm here. I have a routine encounters with Lincoln Hills, and as far as I'm concerned, I just like to put it all in the past. What's done is done. It's moving ahead. We all know that. So I just wanted to let you know why I'm here.
Yeah, thank you.
And I appreciate what you've been saying, Janice, and you too, Chris. Sean, you haven't been quite as vocal about this, and that's totally fine. So I'm not ignoring what you have been
We
saying.
never
but-
give them a chance to say.
Okay. So I appreciate the concern that you've all been expressing.
So, all we can do right now is take it under advisement,
Yeah.
but I do want to say this. Please come to town meeting. Okay? Town meeting can be fun. It really
It's a
can.
circus, I'll do
It's
that.
fascinating. I love it. I missed one time. I had to watch it on TV. Oh, it was great. I was throwing popcorn at the TV and everything. It was awesome. I love it. Okay? Everyone should attend town meeting.
Yeah.
They really should. You know?
Everyone should attend more to know what's happening at town
That's
meetings.
right.
so they
Everyone
can better
should
be
get involved. Everyone should get involved. But the
And
other
people
thing,
shouldn't be
you know,
inhibited by that.
So, I'm sorry, I missed what happened. Oh, nomination
No
paper.
offense.
Yeah,
Thumbs
so
up.
that's the other thing.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Yeah. So, but anyways, thank you for bringing this to us, okay? I know that this is a big deal, and we appreciate all the work that went into bringing this. Again, to the employees, they really do work very, very hard. And it's because of them that we have such a very well-run town. So I just want to make sure that they know that, okay? That they are appreciated. They're feeling a little bruised, and
That goes both ways.
I don't want them to feel bruised. Yeah.
No,
I don't want anybody to feel bruised. I don't want
Please
anybody to
don't-
feel bruised.
Don't take me wrong, okay? I appreciate the town employees. I appreciate everything they have to do. This
This
is
project,
a mess.
this project became a mess. Somehow this project became a mess.
So this
And
is
that's
why
a
we were
shame.
trying to bring something, an answer, something that wasn't put on the town, wasn't put on the residents. It's right in the middle. How can we have someone right in the middle? That's what we were hoping might get another discussion, might get a little more research.
Yeah.
That might come to pass.
Yeah. So, but for now, did you have anything else?
No,
Okay.
thank you for giving me the chance.
For sure. Then I would like to make a motion to take the creation of the town ombudsman position under advisement.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. We're going to take it under advisement. We thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you.
And we hope that the message that gets sent back is everyone just pay attention, get involved, watch YouTube, the videos, show up at town meeting, and let's continue the conversation.
This wasn't a bad experience, right? Coming here and talking to us, right? I mean,
Are you kidding? My head's about to explode.
Well, good, so's mine.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you though,
Thank
thank you very much, everyone.
Not bad, Bill.
All right. Okay, next up, Dan Van Schalwick, extension of contract, road paving and treatment.
Hi.
Good evening, Dan.
Good evening, Madam Chair and board members. Yeah, so Public Works tonight, the first item, the extension of the contract for road paving and treatment. So this is our, it's a one-year contract with 2 one-year extensions. So this is the first extension of it with PJ Albert for the road paving and Superior Seal Coat for crack sealing, which we're gonna do some of that this year. So essentially, if there's any questions, it's the same contract as last year. We're just extending it another year.
Yeah. I'll make a motion that the board vote to execute amendment number 1 for extending the road paving and treatment contract with PJ Albert Incorporated and Superior Seal Coat Inc. for signature by the chair.
seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Okay. Okay, item 2 I have is environmentally preferable product, EPP, and sustainable purchasing policy. So this is a state-driven program, and kind of currently taking a step back right now, the town does have a buy recycled policy, recycled product procurement policy. And so this just takes it a little step further. And the state is requiring us moving forward for all communities to get points toward the annual recycling dividend program grant. And so many communities have adopted this. But basically it's whenever feasible, we follow this process in order to get recycled materials, to hang on to equipment, use it as long as you can. It's all just to be environmentally friendly and in line with our preserving our natural resources. So really, there's not too much of a difference between the current policy and the new sustainable purchasing policy. Like I said, it's whenever feasible we do this. We have to follow federal comprehensive procurement guidelines, which at this time are what we do now, the 30% recycled for paper, for example. But it just really speaks more than just office products, but to goods and equipment too, and not disposing of them, using as much as you can. So I would recommend the board move forward with signing the sustainable purchasing policy for signature by the board.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that the board vote to execute the sustainable purchasing policy as presented for signature by the board.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
All right, great. And last is, Janice, you'll be happy, a bridge update.
Okay.
Waiting for that. No, two bridges actually.
Tell me the shovel is going in the ground.
Yeah, so actually Matt just posted online today an update. We had our weekly meeting with our contractor. But so far, we do have advanced warning signage out there. The erosion controls have been in place, so a lot of light work has happened. We're talking with the contractor today. We're lining up. There's a few more items they have to do above the bridge, widening the road and fixing a guardrail. But late April, early May, tentative for when we're going to have the lane shift and just have the one lane traffic. But yeah, they are mobilized and getting all the materials and the storage area on site and getting to work. And trees have been removed and et cetera. So that's that. We'll definitely be getting word out for sure when we have a solid date on the lane shift. And then, so that's West Main Bridge. So the other bridge we have news on is the Barnum Road Bridge. And so that's located off of the rotary as you head toward the Grove Pond Water Treatment Plant. So it's critical to our access to that plant. And the town has authorized funds to do design for that project, and we're pretty much complete with design. And so we did this, with Mass DOT's kind of guidance, and I was always hoping to get project shovel ready and find some infrastructure money. And we got great news. Mass DOT reached out to us noting that our project was pretty much ready for advertisement and put us in what's called the FAIR program. It's the state's funding for accelerated infrastructure repair program. And so they're going to fund the construction portion of the project, and it's slightly over $900,000. So awesome for the town. It's coming from the state's coffers, and big thanks to Matt Hearn and the town engineer. He's been diligent on this project and keeping it going, and I'll say we got a little lucky, but it's kind of what we were hoping would happen, and we're happy. So
Excellent.
Thank
you.
More to come on that. It's not a replacement, it's a rehab. So there's not going to be a lane closure or any of that with this bridge. It's rehab work, but we'll definitely be getting more to come when that becomes a construction project. Okay, that's all I got for tonight.
Thank you.
Well, I
Thanks.
do want to say I've seen all the different information on there about West Main.
Oh, good.
So I think you did a great job. And so when we hear, I didn't know anything about this. And
Yeah, we're gonna hear it.
Yeah, I mean,
we
there's only so much you can do, but I've certainly seen it everywhere. So
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Barbara Tierney.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'm here tonight to request that the select board vote the approval of a general obligation municipal purpose bond issue. We went out to bid on April 1st. The town of Ayer received actually 12 competitive bids, which is the highest number I have seen to date, for a $10,405,000 bond. It was awarded to a company called Brownstone Investment Group LLC. They issued a premium to the town of $925,000, $456, bringing it to a net interest rate of 3.2286%. So I just want to mention that prior to the sale, we did have a rating call with S&P Global Ratings, and they did affirm the town's AA plus bond rating. This is a very favorable rating, and they noted it was primarily due to the town's good financial policies, strong management, and healthy reserves. So the next step is to have the select board approve by vote the bond at tonight's meeting. In the memo, I did write up a suggested motion. And then once it's voted, the next steps is to have the clerk sign the vote and then some documentation which can be done after the meeting. Do you have any questions?
I have none. This is the standard yearly thing. I have no questions. Do
Yeah.
either one
It
of you?
is.
No.
Okay.
I make a motion that the select board vote to approve the sale of the $10,405,000 general obligation municipal purpose loan of 2026 bonds of the town dated April 16th, 2026 to Brownstone Investment Group LLC at the price of $11,330,456.30 and accrued interest, if any, is hereby approved and confirmed. The enclosed vote will be signed by the clerk and incorporated into the meeting minutes as presented in this meeting.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. It's approved.
Wonderful. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Barbara.
It used to be a day you had to read that whole
I
thing.
know.
You came on the
I would
board and
have-
we stopped reading it.
I heard
I
it's
don't
been
talk.
I was
switched
gonna
when
say,
you're
don't
up
let
there.
I know. There were times when people would be conveniently absent just so I'd have to read it, you know? All right. Okay, so next up is the review and approval of the final FY 2027 budget and approval of the 2026 annual town meeting warrant.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
good evening and members of the board. I was just going to provide just a brief, I know the board has the warrant, has reviewed the warrant, and you may have some specific questions or clarifications. I just wanted to give just a brief overview of the warrant, if that's okay. So the 2026 annual town meeting warrant contains 28 articles and 1 citizen's petition. Article 3 is the FY 27 omnibus budget. The omnibus budget is $20,720,080, or a 3.47% increase of $695,672. And just on that point, I want to thank all of the town departments, the Finance Committee, the Select Board. We started this process as we do every year, but it was particularly unique year in October based on what I called the perfect storm. Our target was to increase the budget no more than 5%, as the average is 10-year average is 5.2%, or $1 million increase. We exceeded that goal in that we came in at $695,672, or 3.47%, and that was no small feat. So I thank all of the departments and everybody that was involved with that. Articles 1 through 25 are articles that have a financial component to them. The Finance Committee met on Thursday, April 2nd, 2026, and reviewed all of the financial articles, including Article 3. The Finance Committee voted unanimously 5-0 on all articles to recommend them, which is reflected in the draft warrant. The 2027 budget webpage on the town website has all of, and will continue to populate all of the budget documents. The FinCom webpage and the Capital webpage are also places to check out. We had the public budget forum on March 25th. The budget book should be available by April 10th. It's going to be a digital online. However, hard copies are available upon request to my office. And there will be a brief presentation on the FY27 omnibus budget at town meeting. Article 4 and 5 are the two school assessment articles respectively. There'll be presentation from each of the superintendents at town meeting. Articles 6 through 10 are the enterprise fund articles. Further information on those will be in the digital budget book or upon request. Article 11 and 12 are the two capital budget articles, and I want to thank the Capital Planning Committee and all of the town departments that had capital. Through a lot of hard work, we were able to reduce the capital plan by 57% from last year as we tighten that up, but still be able to move the town forward. The capital webpage is a good page for the proposals. Also, on the town meeting webpage, we'll have information, and all departments will be prepared to present on their capital requests, if asked, whether it's through the floor or through the moderator. Article 19. Now, I'm just highlighting some of the articles. The others are just the standards. Article 19 is the UDAG replenishment, would put $500,000 from free cash back into UDAG. This is the select board authorized $1 million towards the senior center from UDAG back in the fall, and where we've had such a robust free cash year, we've recommended and we presented this to the finance committee and to this board before $500,000. Article 20 is the stabilization article. That looks to put $620,680 in free cash into the standard stabilization and to put $1 million in capital stabilization. Again, town meeting authorized $2 million from capital stabilization back in October. And again, with the robust free cash, we're recommending to replenish almost half of that. Articles 23 through 25 are the CPA articles. The Community Preservation Committee has a robust web page that has all of the project proposals and information there. And the chair and the committee are always especially the chair at town meeting, to answer any questions, make any presentation. And there are two projects. One article, I believe it's Article 24, is to put additional funding into the Affordable Housing Trust. And then the other is for $25,000 HVAC system for the Sandy Pond Schoolhouse. Article 26 is the zoning bylaw amendment as brought forth originally to the select board by the building commissioner and the director of community and economic development. I thank both of them for their efforts there, as well as the town planner, Danny, for working with them on that. As the board knows, the board approved to send it to the planning board. The planning board reviewed it, held a public hearing, and is recommending, and by law is required to report on that at town meeting. And then lastly, Article 27 and 28 are related to the new senior center project. Article 27 is basically the utility easements for the new senior center project. That article was developed by the DPW director and town council. This is to get the electricity and the telecommunications to the site. And Article 28 is a deed restriction and conservation restriction for the new senior center project, which is required as part of the state permitting for this project, specifically for any endangered species and so forth. And that was developed by town council and the DPW director, who's been the permitting point up to this point on the project. And then lastly, there was one citizen's petition submitted to the town clerk by Christine Goulet, a resident of Ayer, also is the new president of PACE. It seeks for a home rule petition to the legislature to prohibit or restrict the second generation anticoagulant pesticides. And this is similar, as the board authorized last year to ban these on town property. This is looking at a restriction prohibition on the town level and is consistent with the effort underway at the State House and from other towns. They did submit a packet of information which we'll post to the page. So at this time, I don't know if there are any questions from the board. Also, the draft warrant was also reviewed by town council.
Any questions?
No.
Nope. All right, then I'll make a motion for the approval of the final fiscal year 2027 budget and the approval of the 2026 annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye, the warrant is approved. Carly, how many warrants are going to be mailed out?
So it's just over 3,800. It goes to each household.
3,800 warrants are going to be mailed out.
Yes.
I want everybody to remember that. 3,800 warrants are being mailed out.
And
Hope to see you all at town meeting.
Are they all going to be read?
I would like it to be, where like we have to, push them back because there's too many people in the room, so. All right.
And Madam Chair, just to add on to that, so for the promotion of town meeting, this warrant, now that the board has approved it, will be officially posted by this Friday, April 10th, in accordance with the budget calendar. That'll include the town's website. And as you mentioned, it goes out to print and mailing at that time. Also, starting April 10th, we will reactivate the town meeting webpage on the town's website, which will have all of the information and supporting documents for the articles. We'll also be doing the articles of the day, and which highlight things each day on the articles. And the town moderator, I know, is scheduling office hours for residents here at Town Hall. And then, as always, feel free to call my office or email us on any questions, any documents. As always, we want everybody to have the information as we move forward.
So 3,800 warrants mailed out.
Yeah.
Article of the day on the town's Facebook page.
Yes.
This is the Town of Ayer's official Facebook page.
Yeah.
And the Town of Ayer's website will also have the information.
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Tillotson, yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to let the residents know who get this that I am also available to speak with them. We will have office hours Tuesday and Thursday, the week before the town meeting, but I am available to speak with them, and they just need to reach out to me at gtillotson@ayer.ma.us.
That's gtillotson@ayer.ma.us, town moderator.
Yes. And if they leave a message with Susan's office, they can get a hold of me by phone too. Susan's very good about getting them to me by phone also. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
All right. Anything else on that item? No? Okay. So now we go back to the normal town manager's report.
So, Madam Chair, members of the Select Board, good evening. In the packet, you have the warrants that were approved since the Select Board last met on March 17th. As I say every year, our focus remains on the budget and town meeting preparation. I want to thank again all of the departments, my internal finance team, the capital planning, FinCom, Select Board, all the boards and commissions, as this is a year-long process. Yeah, I will argue it is perhaps the most public and transparent budget process you'll find in Massachusetts. And the proof in the pudding is look at our financial condition. And there are no secrets or so forth. It's a year-long process that involves the community. I just want a couple items. On March 17th, the Insurance Advisory Committee met and reviewed a proposal on the town's life insurance for employees. And they voted, and the benefits payroll manager and I concur. They voted, we're going to be switching life insurance carriers from Boston Mutual to Maya. And Maya being larger, they're more competitive pricing. There's more competitive.
Somebody needs to mute themselves.
There's more competitive pricing. There's also going to be an online portal for employees. And additionally, the IAC voted to recommend that we increase the basic retiree life insurance from $5,000 to $10,000, which is long overdue and is more consistent. The cost impact for that change is about $12,000, which is in the FY27 budget under the benefits insurance under the benefits line. So I just wanted to make the board aware of that. On March 16th, Alicia Hersey, the program manager for Community Economic Development, retired, and we wish her all the best. And on April 6th, Miss Katie Neville started as the program manager, working with Ray Friedlander in that office, which I know the board will be meeting in the near future. On March 19th, the internal finance team, as well as selected departments, participated in the Standard & Poor bond rating call. And I'm pleased to report that we are maintaining our high bond rating, so we did not come down. And I will send the report from S&P, which was very positive and favorable to the town's not only current financial situation, but also the town's forward looking on that issue. March 25th, we had the budget forum. In the near future, I'd like to discuss with the board, we've done that model now for 6 years since COVID, and I have some ideas to sort of change that up. There were only four residents in attendance, despite the promotion on March 25th, not including department heads and board and committee members. So we're going to be looking at that. Two last things. On March 27th, the Director of Community Economic Development had put together a tour for Mass Development Leadership, specifically the new Vice President for Mass Development, Selectman Livingston, and I, Dan, the DPW Director, Matt Hernan, the Town Engineer, and Ray, took them to the future Senior Center site, to the future NOAA housing development, and to the hospital and to Catania. I think it was a very positive tour. Want to also thank Chief Johnston, who was our guest speaker at the hospital, Janet Provodakis on Fitchburg Road. Her enthusiasm raised the temperature. I think a lot of good connections were made through that tour.
It was an excellent day. Thank you, Ray, for getting all set up and everything.
So we, I think that was a positive. Lastly, this past Friday, I toured Peroni Park with the Parks Commission, the Parks Director, the DPW Director, and the Facilities Director, looking at two things, short-term issues that need to be addressed, as well as longer-term issues. The baseball, softball group is going to have a cleanup at Peroni Park on Saturday, April 11th, from 9 a.m. to 2. So if anybody is interested in lending any support, that cleanup is on April 11th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's an additional effort as we get ready for opening day on April 26th. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
One other plug, the Parks Department and the town, we are in need of lifeguards for the summer at Sandy Pond. This is a paid position through the town. All municipalities are struggling getting lifeguards. We need a minimum of 11 to operate our standard level of service. Right now we have 3. There's still some time. So I just wanted to put a plug through you, Madam Chair, out into the universe.
And to be clear, if there's no lifeguard, the beach can't open.
Correct.
So if people want the beach to open, we
Yeah.
need to have lifeguards.
Correct.
So,
I'm glad you just brought that up, because without lifeguards, we can't, people ask us all the time, well, swim at your own risk. With the town's insurance and the liability, we can't do that, so. Lastly, I just want to thank all of the departments. I know many of them were here tonight because of the warrant, but I also know that they were here because they are very passionate at what they do, and they're very professional at what they do. And I'm very proud of them. And I think a takeaway I think we can all agree on is it's about communication and mutual respect. And in this particular instance, and I don't want to rehash it, but just for the record, because we've been saying this since October, and lines have gotten blurred between private property and public concerns. There's no question there. Lines have gotten blurred between the private owner and the contractor versus town employees. We have no direct control over that. As I said at the meeting, clearly, nobody would want that project in their backyard. And if there was a way to address that within the law, we would have. But that is the great challenge with all projects. And I think the overall feeling is that once the town could not legally stop the project, we couldn't stop the project, is when things started to go in the direction they did. But the town, to my knowledge, and I stand by this, no law was broken. The site plan was followed to a T. When the Fly Rock incident happened, as we always do with public safety and public health, we responded accordingly, and we kept them closed longer than the fire marshal was ready to open it back up in 48 hours, and we made them go another week. The last thing, and I'll leave it at that, and I'm speaking now because you learn over a long time, you pick your battles. Since October, as the town manager, copied on many of these emails, allegations continue to be made that town folks lied, withheld information, etc. Not to mention, and I hear the whole thing about respect and nastiness, and I stand by this, and all of these people that are here. I am not aware of any nastiness on the town side. What I am aware of is factual answers that select individuals did not like, which I get. I hear stuff every day that I don't like. But as Ms. Antonella said, that's the answer. And that's the factual answer. And there is no, and I understand how people can feel. I understand how people can feel. But feelings in reality is also a fine line. And I just want to go on record. I am not aware, and I do take issue with this broad brush that these folks, or that the town was nasty, or the planning board. I was at those meetings. We have, and I'll send to the board, I've shared with some of you, just through the town planner, there are over 1,600 emails on this issue, of which 95 of them are from Ms. Gauvin. That doesn't include all of the other departments. The planning board handled this publicly. Now, they didn't like the answers, I get that, but the planning board it was one of the longest site plan processes we've ever had. The town planner has met with them. The town planner has been responsive. He has been publicly accused by these people of being on the take, that he brought them here. The fire chief has been brought into question about the decibels of blasting. And the list goes on and on. And, you know, this is serious business. All of these people take this serious. And when, you know, not just this proposal in these emails, anybody is entitled to how they feel. But that isn't reality or the facts. And there's all of these aspersions that continue to get cast with no evidence that has been provided. And I just appreciate the time on that because there is a time and place. I was not looking to get into a debate, nor am I now. But the more I thought about it, the town, nobody is perfect, especially me. Everybody knows that. But contrary to public opinion, this is a great town, not because of me, not because of the board, not because of the department heads, but because of the whole collective. And I think moving forward, it's about communication and mutual respect. And I take my hits every day. I had no gray hair when I came to the town. These people take their hits every day. But it gets to a point when you're every day, not crying, because it's going to continue to happen, but when you're being accused of things that just aren't true because either A, people don't understand, people make no effort to understand, or they don't like the answers. They, in this day and age, whether it's the community page or whatever, it gets into character assassination and accusations, and we don't respond to that. So I think of everything that was said tonight, and I agree with all three board members about communication and what was said on the proposal, and everybody has any right. The only issue that I take is with the nastiness, because there's no facts to that. And I will stand by that the town did its job, including the planning board, and will continue to do its job. Are we perfect? No. Do we always get it right? No. But in moving forward, I think it is incumbent upon every resident, you know, I hear this every day, to get involved. And you said this, Madam Chair. We are perhaps, contrary to some folks, perhaps one of the most transparent governments there are. You look at our website, all the stuff we put out there. We did the public budget forum, and 4 people show up for a $40 million budget. And the list goes on, a capital planning, rate review. And these folks are all involved in it. And we are extremely transparent. We're open to any suggestions, including what was proposed. And as the board said, it will be taken under advisement. And we will look at it and see what we can do. But in the end, and I will stop, and I appreciate the time, it is incumbent, not just in Ayer, any town, any city, that we are all citizens, and we have to bear the responsibility to get informed, to ask those questions. All of the individuals on this proposal have never contacted directly about all of these issues. I know they have others, so it's a two-way street. But people have got to get involved. So with that, Madam Chair, the good news is that's my report. I appreciate the board's time, and I appreciate the department head's time, and I will answer any questions if the board has any.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for bringing that up. And just to the department heads, thank you for your continued professionalism. And it's not always easy to continue to be professional when your character is being called into question. So thank you very much. You're great representatives of this town.
Yeah, I echo what Sean says. You know, when it was brought up about the ombudsman position, I think it was kind of thought by all of us, like, well, that's the select board. And as someone, you know, that's a resident, that comes here very often, right? You see me here, you probably see me walk in, you're like, him again. So I'm here all the time.
I did that earlier.
I'm used to it, it's okay. But as a resident, that is just coming in and trying to do what's best for the town, I know all these people. I make a point to meet, talk to everyone I can when I come through, and outside of even just the whole Lincoln Hill stuff, just for public record and residents to know, I'm your representative that comes in here and talks to all the town officials, and I walk out thinking, this is the best group of people I've ever met. If I thought that anyone wasn't doing a good job or was nasty to any resident or ignoring any residents or not taking, just the best interest of town, I would have an issue, because that's why I ran, that's why I'm on the select board. So again, I really appreciate everything that all the department heads, all the town employees, all the elected officials do out here. We can debate, we can kind of argue, but in the end, we have the best interest of the town. So for anyone that had to deal with any, I'd say slander, when there's actual accusations of, illegal doings, that's when I get really upset. There's one thing to say, yeah, I don't agree with this. Okay, that's fine. We don't agree. But when those things get brought in, or this nastiness, there's no need. So I invite any resident to contact me. Again, anyone that's ever contacted me, I've gotten right back to them, tried to give them any answers possible. I'm your advocate, and sometimes the answer is going to be, sorry, yeah, I don't agree with you, but I understand. So I'll finish with that. Just one other thing that's not related to all of this. It's something that the town manager brought up, the Peroni cleanup. So I guess it's tangential. Get involved with Peroni cleanup, please.
Yeah.
It's a point of pride amongst everyone in town. I tell this story, so everyone's probably heard this, about I go to different ball fields all around this area, and I've had multiple people say, you're from that town that has that beautiful park. And I say, yeah, we're so proud of it. This is a win-win for everyone to go down, even if it's an hour, whatever time you can give to do some raking, talk to other people. Every time I've done it, I've loved it, and I've stayed the whole time. I believe there's refreshments to be served. So
the Parks Department, yep.
Yes, so that's even a bonus. You can have some coffee, some pizza. Please, it gives ownership. It's our park, so it's not all on just parks. This is our chance to try to give back and improve something that we all love. And with that, I'm done.
What was the date again?
Saturday the 10th, 9 to 2.
The 10th?
The 11th.
11th.
Saturday's
It's the 11th.
Yeah, I was
this
gonna
coming-
say, wait a minute.
This coming Saturday, yes.
Don't do that whole date mix up that we
I
did a
know,
couple
yeah.
months ago. My God, that was awful. All right. Any new business select board member questions? I think
I
we're
didn't have any.
I've spoken enough.
covered everything. All right. Next up is approval of meeting minutes from March 17th, 2026.
So I saw kind of multiple issues as far as like motions that were made. I don't know if there was just some confusion between Sean and I. So the best thing I can say is just try to. Yes. Yeah, he's the one that's quiet, evidently. So I would just advise to visit the notes or the video and just make those changes.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'll go through the minutes with Kristen tomorrow, and then we'll resubmit for the next meeting. That seems to make the most sense.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah,
All right, so they'll be moved to the next meeting.
we'll table.
Okay. All right, for every, hold on. Hold on. All right, so to anybody who is feeling unappreciated because you feel like there's one person that doesn't appreciate you, I want you to remind yourself of the 5 or more that do. And with that,
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Good night, everyone.